Hi everyone, how are you doing today? Good. So yeah, I'm Patrick. I'm the co-founder and user experience officer at NextSync. So NextSync is a B2B SaaS company whose mission is to delight people at work. So more concretely, what we do is we sell a solution for large companies to improve the digital experience of their employees. Because if you're working in a large company, let's face it, you're probably facing many different IT issues all day long. So this is a problem for employees because it hinders their productivity and it's frustrating for employees. But it's also a problem for the companies themselves because of course of all this productivity that is lost, but also because of the money it costs to fix all these IT issues. And you know, all these issues are happening not because the IT departments are not doing their job well, they do, but most of the time they are not even aware of the problem that the employees are facing. And it's even more true today that many people are working from home. The IT departments are kind of blind at the end. So, you know, we provide the IT departments with this visibility. We measure the experience of the employees, and we help them to fix all these issues. So yeah, we started the company a long time ago, back in 2004. And back in that time, we were 3 people, 2 technical people. I was one of them, so I was designing and implementing the product, and 1 person who was more sales-oriented. So today, we are 900 people. It has increased this last time, so 900 people. And we are proud to make more than 13 million people happier at work today. So in terms of financials, Lola already mentioned it. So we have a revenue of around a bit more than $150 million per year, and we reached a valuation last year of $1 billion. So beside my role as a co-founder, my main role, I would say, is to take care of the user experience of the product. And in that sense, I'm leading a team, a UX team, made of 10 people, growing, but of 10 people today. It's a mix of researchers and designers. So speaking of designers, I've observed different situations that happen to them. And let me explain a few of them. So let's start. Let me introduce you Bob, a product designer, and a few stakeholders. So stakeholders can be product managers, executive, engineers, you name it. And Bob was working on a task, so he had to, you know, design a new feature, for instance. And he's very proud, and he's going to present that design proposal to his stakeholders. And the reaction he may get is like, for instance, the first stakeholder say, oh, that's very nice, but why didn't you design it that way instead? Another stakeholder may say, I think we should rather do ABC, whatever it is. And finally, yet another stakeholder may say, no, XYZ would be definitely the best. Poor Bob. At the end, it's just frustrating because, you know, all this conversation is about personal taste, personal opinions. It's very, very frustrating. So who of you ever experienced this kind of situation where, you know, you have these unproductive conversations with your stakeholders? Yeah, almost everybody. I feel less alone. That's good. So that was my first situation. Second situation, here is Suzanne, another product designer. A bit similar to Bob, she was designing a new feature for a product, and she's very happy because, yeah, I've done my design. But very, very quickly, she started doubting and say, oh, I could improve this part, or maybe this is not perfect. And she's struggling to shape the design, just trying to make it more perfect all the time and spending more time maybe than necessary on that feature. Does it sound familiar to anybody? Well, also many people. Last situation, we can find Bob, again, with 2 stakeholders, and they are discussing maybe a new version of the product. And the situation, the conversation goes a bit like this. You may have one stakeholder saying, oh, maybe we should add this feature. Another stakeholder, oh, and what about this? And, you know, designers sometimes also guilty and saying, oh, wait, maybe if we can add this feature, it could be useful. And at the end, we end up in a situation where we try to cram as many features as possible in a new version of the product, hoping to make a better product at the end. Has anybody also experienced this kind of situation? Yeah, as well. That's good. So how do we end up in such situations? So for me, there is two main reasons for that. The first one is that people, designers, stakeholders, are not aligned on what makes a good design. Second is that a good design depends on the context. A good design today might not be a good design tomorrow. It really depends on the situation. So at the end, what's a good product design? That's the question. So I'm going to introduce you a framework that I'm using based on 5 values to try to evaluate and define what is a good product design. So let's start and see each of the values individually first. So the first one is what I call the usefulness. Your role as a designer is to solve a user problem. So if you design a great interface, beautiful, very easy to use, but it doesn't solve the user problem, it's kind of pointless. So for all of these 5 values, what we can do is to draw an axis, and we can evaluate our design where we think it stands on that axis. This is just examples. The graduation here is just example, just to give an idea. It's more, qualitative than quantitative. The second value is what I call learnability. So this is a common value in UX. So how easily your user will learn your product. So as it's very common, you are all familiar with that. So I won't spend too much time on this one. But again, we can evaluate our product or our design according to this value. The third one is the ease of use. So let's imagine that your users have to accomplish a task dozens of times per day. If every time it takes many clicks, well, that's not efficient for them. It's clearly not optimal. So that's also something that we need to take into account. The fourth value is what I call the coolness of the product. I believe that you cannot really provide a delightful experience to your user without a certain level of coolness. This is very much linked to the emotional side of design and so on. Part of this for me is everything, like micro interactions, animations, visualizations, and so on and so forth. And the last one, very important one for me, that is often overlooked, is the quickness to ship. When you are creating a new feature or a new product, your mission as a designer is not to design a great product. Your mission is to solve a user problem. And your mission will be only accomplished once the product is in the user's hands. So it's fundamental to realize that every day before the product is shipped is a day when your users can solve their problems. Every day before the product is shipped is a day when your users may choose an alternative solution from your competitors. Every day before the product is shipped is a day when your competitors may come closer to you or even surpass you. And every day before the product is shipped is a day when you're not working on bringing more value to your users or solving more problems for them. So it's really, really important to keep that in mind also when we are designing a product. Again, like for all of them, we can try to evaluate the quickness to ship of the product. So we've seen these 5 values. So at the end, what's a good product design? So of course, naturally, we would like to optimize or to maximize all these values. And if we plot them on a radar chart, we would like to have something like this at the end. But unfortunately, this is not possible. The key is that we have to find the right trade-off. So in some cases, the trade-off is quite obvious. If I show these two examples here, it's quite obvious to see that the one on the right is better because most of the values are significantly better than the one on the left. But in many cases, the difference will be way more subtle. So in this example, what is the best one? The one on the left or the one on the right? There is no right or wrong answer. It really depends on the situation where you are. And to see to go a bit more into these trade-offs, let's see two concrete use cases. So the first one, let's say you are developing an application for lab technicians in a hospital. You know, they need to enter the test results of patients, maybe COVID test, whatever. They have to enter all this all day long in a computer system. So you're designing an application for these people. So what values would you prioritize in your design in that case? I'll let you a few seconds to think about it. So now I'm proposing you two different options. Maybe it's two different designs, two different alternatives. So we have option A, we cannot see it, but option A on the left and option B on the right. Who would choose option A? A few people, okay. Who would choose option B? Can anybody tell me who chose option B, why they would choose option B?
I would opt for learnability because I think you could have deeper functionality, deeper features.
Okay.
That can be learned over time, but I think there'd be more value.
Okay, so the attendee said that preference to improve or to optimize for learnability so we can add more feature for them. Yes?
I would think B because they're both going to take the same time to ship.
So B because they both take the same time, kind of the same time to ship, yes.
All the other axes except for
Okay. So in my case, I would choose option A. Because for me, these people will probably use the system many, many times every day. So they need something very quick to enter these test results. Learnability, we are talking about learnability. For me, it's a little bit less important here because these are professional people that can be trained to use the system. So we can sacrifice, in that case, a bit of learnability to improve the ease of use, to be more efficient using that product every day. Let's see a second example. Let's say you're a bunch of friends and you want to launch a new business. So you're working on your on the first version of your product. So in that case, which values would you prioritize? So again, I'm proposing you two options, option A on the left and option B on the right. Who would choose option A? Oh, no, everybody is afraid to answer. Or maybe everybody choose option B. So who chose option B? Okay, so most of the people are choosing option B. Why? Can anybody tell me why they choose option B? Yes?
My thought is if it's the first MVP, you can ship it quickly and then get new product feedback from new users, and the coolness will attract folks to use the product itself. So then over time, you might shift more to option A with future iterations.
Okay, so yeah, just to repeat, so to prioritize the quickness to ship, to have an MVP as quickly as possible, and the coolness will bring people to use that product. I basically fully agree. When you're starting a new business, you want first to ship something very quickly. And you know, if you're trying to, you know, attract investors and show something, or even early adopters, having something cool, it just helps really a lot because people will just notice it, they will love it, and it's more important than maybe the learnability of FIFO's use. Usually the first the first users are kind of, they are early adopters, they are forgiving on this kind of thing, so it's better to prioritize on something else. Excellent, so before finishing and taking your questions, a few takeaways on my presentation. So the first one is that using this common set of 5 values, not only within the designers, but agreeing on these values between designers and stakeholders, helps having more meaningful conversation at the end to take better decisions. Your mission is to solve a user problem, and is not accomplished before the solution is in the user's hands. Very important. And finally, the key is to find the right trade-off. It's always a matter of finding the right trade-off. There is no magic formula at the end. It's to find the right trade-off. Thank you very much.